Hey, good morning, good morning, good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? How is everyone doing today? Hey, this is Gregory Wiles coming live to you from Houston, Texas, with this inspirational morning walk. And first time listeners, I guess I'm exercising in the mornings, and I just share my thoughts with you guys. What I'm inspired to talk about that day, I'll share with you guys. Yes, today, as you can see, it's overcast. It's overcast, a little bit of rain on the schedule, saying it should start in another, I think it's starting to sprinkle here. I might gotta look for some shelter, but yes, a little rain on the forecast, so I'll see what I can get done today. Let me look for some shelter. It's starting to sprinkle already, but I'll still get my word out. I'll still get my word out and see how much exercise I can get in. But yes, I can just, if you miss anything, if you like what you're hearing, you could always check back on YouTube. I'll try and forward this stuff throughout the day. Usually I try to do it right after I'm finished. I'll try to get after I finish my exercise, I try to upload it. But I'll sit in the vehicle since it's starting to sprinkle, and we're gonna continue with this where I can be comfortable and not be disturbed. Alrighty, all right, let me just take a seat here. All right, so what I want to talk to you guys about this morning, today's one of those days when I went to bed saying I'm gonna talk about one thing. I went awake this morning, God said, I want you to talk about something else today. I want you to talk about something else today. So what I want to address today is taking money for healing, right? I'm touching healing, but just taking money for healing, right? I want to talk about that. People who taking money for healing, and when they're saying the healing in God's name and they're putting a price tag on it, right? I want to shed some light on that. Today. So remember, I think about a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, we talked about when Naaman, this guy from the Aramean army, he went and he got his leprosy cured from the prophet Elisha, right? When he went and get it, we talk about that. So I want to do a little continuation on that story. Remember when he went and Elisha told him to dip in the river 7 times, and he was cured, he was healed of his leprosy, right? And we talk about when he was a little upset. Good morning, Jillian. Good morning. He was a little upset. It's like, why he telling me, he think the man would have come out, wave his hands over his and perform all these gymnastics and they need to be healed. But the man just tell him simply, go and wash yourself in the river, dip 7 times in the river and you'll be cured. And when his servants are with him, say, man, this man, he asked you to do something difficult. Would you do it? But this man asked you to do something really simple. So why don't you just do it? You know what I mean? Cindy, good morning. Cindy, good morning. How are you doing today? Yes, so he did went and he got his healing from his leprosy, right? So I'll pick it up from after he just got the healing. He's so impressed with he got his healing. So I can pick it up from, this is 2 Kings. I can read from a 5:15 through 27 for the people who just joined. We're talking about taking money for healing, right? The people who said a healing in God's name and putting a price tag on it, right? So I can pick it up from 15. Naaman just get his healing, right? He was happy, he just got his healing. Then Naaman and his entire party went back to find the man of God. They stood before him, and Naaman said, now I know there is no God in all the world except in Israel. So through this, God make him a believer, right, in Israel. So please accept a gift from your servant. So Naaman went back after he dipped in the river 7 times. He was cured of his leprosy. He went back to find the man of God and said, man, I now convinced that there's only one God. There's no other God. All these other gods, what we serving in these other nations is not for real. This is the true God here, right? So he went back to offer Elijah a gift. But Elijah replied, as surely as the Lord live, whom I serve, I will not accept any gifts. And though Naaman urged him to take the gift, Elijah refused. Why Elijah refused to take this man gifts, right? Because Elijah, he was healed by the grace of God. Remember, Elijah just tell him, go and dip 7 times in the river, right? He was healed by the grace of God, and he is now impressed with this God that he that just healed him, right? So you want to offer Elijah a gift. So Elisha said, I ain't taking no money. I ain't taking no money. I ain't taking no money, right? He was healed by the grace of God. He didn't tell him that much. But Elijah know the people who doing this healing in God's name, who giving his messages and all the like what I'm doing here, it's not by us nothing we're doing. We're just the vessels. It's God's word who's doing it. It's God who's doing it through his word. We're just the vessels that doing it. So Elijah said, no, I ain't want no money from you, man. You get your healing, go on your way, right? So then Naaman said, all right, but please allow me to load 2 of my mules with earth from this place, and I'll take it back home with me. So now he's a believer. He getting to see what this real God is all about, right? He get his healing, the man in charge him nothing, because the places where he come from, he had to probably pay how much $1,000,000 for this healing that he just got. And now he's seen a different way. This stuff ain't even cost me nothing. This man told me a few words, what to go, give me some instructions, and I followed it, and I got my healing. He don't even want to take my money. He's so big this God is. He don't even want my money, right? So he's saying he want to take some dirt from this place, and I'll take it back home with me. From now on, I will never again offer burnt offerings or sacrifice to any other God except the Lord. So, you see, God make this man a believer now. God make this man a believer, right? He said, I ain't going to worship no other God. Let me take some dirt from here, and, because this place got to be holy. I ain't going to worship no other God except this God that just healed me. So, however, may the Lord pardon me in this one thing. When my master, the king, goes to the temple of the god of Rimmon to worship there and lean on my arm, may the Lord pardon me when I bow down. So he's saying, man, my master worship a different God. So he want God to pardon him. He's just trying to tell God, look, this is my master. I got to do what he's saying, but I ain't believing in this God. So I want you to pardon me when I bow down to this God. Pardon me because I just doing this because of my master, but I know who the true God is. In other words, what he's saying, he's just asking for pardon from before, right? So when he go back, because he knows master worship other gods, right? So we are 19, 2 Kings 5:19 now. And Elijah said, go in peace, Elijah said. So Naaman started home again. So Naaman went back going home again, right? So let's see. But you remember, Elijah had his servant Gehazi, right? Gehazi with him. So Gehazi say, man, look, Elijah, you left in a lot of money on the table here, Elijah. So in 20, here what Gehazi did. But Gehazi, the servant of Elijah, the man of God, said to himself, my master should not have left this army left without get away without accepting any of his gifts. So Gehazi saying, no, man, my master should accept these gifts. He letting this man go back with all this stuff that he brought with him, all these gifts. As surely as the Lord live, I will chase after him and get something from him. So Gehazi set off after Naaman. So after Naaman gone a little way, Gehazi said, no, let him get out of sight. I can run after him. I can accept some of these gifts, man. This is a lot of gifts here. We can't let this man return with all these gifts, man. So he set off after the man. So when Naaman saw Gehazi running after him, he climbed down from his chariot and went to meet him. He says, everything all right, Naaman asks. Yes, Gehazi said, but my master, now he's lying on Elijah, right? But my master has sent me to tell you that 2 young prophets from the hill country of Ephraim have just arrived. He would like 7 pounds of silver and 2 sets of clothing to give to them. So he gone after this man and lying and said his master, when his master said, I'm not going to take no money from you for your healing and you're healed by God's grace, he running after him and lying and said the master said give him 75 pounds of silver. This is the NLT translation. They actually put the number there, but different translation can just say take silver and gold and stuff like that, right? And clothing, right? So he said 75 pounds of silver and 2 sets of clothing for them, for these 2 guys, right? And then Naaman said in 2023 now, 2 Kings 5:23 on to, by all means, take as much silver, Naaman insisted. Naaman like, take as much as you want, bro. Take as much as you want. He gave him 2 sets of clothing, tied up the money in 2 bags, and sent 2 of his servants to carry the gift for Gehazi. But when they arrived at the citadel, Gehazi took the gifts from the servant and sent the men back. Then he went and hid the gifts inside his house. So after he sent his men, he tell the men, okay, good. I got it from here, because he is not no 2 servants. He trying to get his stuff. He trying to pocket his stuff himself. So when he tell the men, okay, I got it from here, collect the stuff, and he gonna hide it in his house, right? He hide it in his house. So let's go on and see how this play out. So when he went to his master, Elijah asked him, where have you been, Gehazi? I haven't been anywhere, he replied. But Elijah asked him, don't you realize I was there in spirit when Naaman stepped down from his chariot to meet you? Is this the time to receive money and clothing, olive groves and vineyards, sheep and cattle and male and female servants? He's saying, man, look, is this the time to take money? God healed this man for whatever reason by his grace, and you want to profit off of this. God told me not to take no money from this man, but you going and using my name to get money from this man. But here what happened now. So because you have done this, you and your descendants will suffer from Naaman's leprosy forever. When Gehazi left the room, he was covered with leprosy. His skin was white as snow. So now he just brought a generational curse on his entire family. Right? He just brought a generational curse. The same leprosy what Naaman was cured of now cling to him. And he said him and his descendants. So you might say, why Elijah and God just give this man such a serious punishment? But you got to understand, God healed this man by his grace. Right? He now trying to mess with this man's healing, and he now could cast a doubt on this man if Elijah was a true prophet of God, and cast doubt on this God that he was so impressed with, right? That's what Gehazi did here when he went back and said, because remember these people are used to all of these false prophets, charging them for everything and all this. So God's trying to show this man a different way, who's the real God. But he now gone and trying to mess with God's work. Now this man could think and put Elijah in the category of all the other false prophets now who was charging for this healing and all of that, right? So that's what he attempted to do. That's why God tell Elijah to deal with him severely, right? Because you messing with God's work, guys. So I'm going to tell you right now. So if you got some case of healing, some sickness, some case of healing, you might be tempted. God might be a loved one. And you might be tempted, and the enemy can always come and to tell you, man, I know somebody who can heal you, and I can take you there, and then it might cost you $1,000, $1,500, $3,000, whatever the case may be. But they heal sister this, they heal my uncle, they heal my aunt, and you might be tempted because it's a loved one, and don't do it. Anyone charging you for healing or putting a price tag on healing or anything they said they're doing in God's name, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, anytime they're putting a price tag on anything and they said they're doing things in God's name, you know that's a false prophet. You know that is not the God that you think that is doing this stuff for you, right? Now, if you get your healing, you get what prayers answered when you go to them for whatever situation, these prophets give you a prophecy and it come true, and God put it on your heart to give them $1 million. God put it in your heart to give them 10 million. He put it in your heart to give them 5,000. Whatever God put on your heart to give to them, you can offer them. And in just like this case, like Elijah, and if God put it on their heart to say, don't accept anything, and they don't accept anything, you okay with that? and you roll on. But if you put it on your heart to donate to the ministry, donate to whatever they're doing, you put it on your heart to do it, you do that. But if they're gonna tell you this is going to cost you X amount of dollars, from the first thing you come to them for healing, they say, okay, you gotta put half down. Like this is some transactional thing. No. The people who are doing the healing, the people who are doing God's word, are just vessels. We don't have no authority. We don't have no power. It's what God doing through us. We're just the vessels, right? And we can't charge people for God's work, for God's grace. He decided to extend grace to whoever he wants to extend the grace to. Right? That's why sometimes people go to some people, man of God, for healing. Some of them get healing, some of them don't get the healing. But it's all who God's decided to extend his grace to for whatever reason, right? So I'm saying this, I don't know why you put it on my heart today, because I had something totally different I had to come in and talk about. Wake up 6:30 this morning doing my prayers. She said, okay, I want you to talk about this today, right? So the first sign of a false prophet doing anything in God's name is putting a price tag on God's grace. And in this case of Naaman, he caused an entire what's the word I'm looking, generational curse. Because you hear what Naaman said here. Because you've done this, you and your descendants will suffer from Naaman's leprosy forever. When Gehazi left the room, he was covered with leprosy. His skin was white as snow. But remember in Exodus 20, we did in the teaching on all of this. Remember in Exodus 25, where the law states, right? That's why this is this same law he was punished by here. So you must not bow down to them. You must not bow. This is Exodus 25. This is the law where this comes from. Why Elijah could have pronounced this curse on Naaman. You must not bow down to them or worship them. For I, the Lord your God, am a jealous God, who will not tolerate your affections for any other gods. I lay the sins of the parents upon their children. The entire family is affected, even children in the third and fourth generations of those who reject me. So this is this law Elijah used to punish him with, right, guys? So I'm saying you go to God for your healing. Use the scriptures, as simple as how this guy has when God tell him dip 7 times. Use his word. Use his word. You fast and you pray. You give him back his word. He's Jehovah Jireh, the God of healing. And you show him examples in the Bible how he healed these different people. And you are no different from them. Your family members no different from them. And you claim and ask for your healing. Right? Like I said, if you have someone at your church or someone that can pray with you, lay hand, pray with you, by all means, but you pray to the God and don't let nobody tell you to go to nobody who's going to charge you X amount of money. I know people might be tempted because he's your loved one. Do not do it. You're bringing more curses on yourself and the person who you're trying to help. Go to your God. He can extend his grace to that person. It's up to him to extend the grace or not. Right, guys? So I'm going to leave it there, man. I'm going to leave it there. And then we can talk again on Friday, guys. Right? Have a great day. Renita, good morning. How are you doing today? All right. Goodbye.